Thank you, Madam Chair. I sure would like to introduce my family. With me and us here today is my wife, Zaino, who just gave birth to our first child, our daughter, Maya, who today turns 16 days old and unfortunately couldn't make it. Thank you. Thank you. Life really begins now. Yeah. And my wonderful mother-in-law as well, Fusun, is here with us, who is providing us amazing support and assistance without which we wouldn't make it. Thank you. Thank you again, Madam Chair, distinguished members of the committee, for the privilege of appearing before you today as President Obama's nominee as the United States Ambassador to Azerbaijan. I'm deeply grateful for the confidence and trust that the President and Secretary Clinton have placed in me. And thank you, Senator Lugar, for the honor of your introduction and of working with you and your staff over these past several years. While working on the three countries of the South Caucasus over the past 13 years, I've always seen great potential for the region's integration into a strategic whole, characterized by peace, economic cooperation, and strategic connection with the West. If confirmed, I pledge to work closely with this committee and other members of Congress to advance this vision and the full range of U.S. interests in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is an important partner of the United States. Located at the crossroads of Europe, the Middle East, and Central Asia, and bordering Iran, Azerbaijan is a secular state with a Muslim majority population and rich religious and ethnic diversity. Azerbaijan's major hydrocarbon resources have driven its economic growth at one of the fastest rates in the world in recent years. But despite some advances, Azerbaijan has a long way to go to translate this growth into deeper reforms that unlock the full potential of its dynamic citizens and advance peace and prosperity throughout its region. The United States is committed to helping Azerbaijan overcome these challenges and to achieving our shared interests as partners, as Secretaries Clinton and Gates underscored during their recent visits to Baku. If confirmed, I will work to invigorate the U.S.-Azerbaijan partnership in pursuit of three sets of strategic interests: security, energy, and democratic reform. On security, Azerbaijan established itself as a key partner of the United States the day after the terror attacks of September 11, 2001, when then-President Haidar Aliyev offered unlimited overflights of Azerbaijan for our military aircraft. Today, Azerbaijan continues to provide valuable overflight, refueling, and landing rights for U.S. and coalition aircraft bound for Afghanistan. Azerbaijan is also an important partner in the Northern Distribution Network, allowing the United States to transit non-lethal goods through its territory en route to Afghanistan. And Azerbaijan has contributed troops to U.S. and coalition military operations in Afghanistan, as well as Kosovo and Iraq. In addition, Azerbaijan has been a critical partner on counterterrorism, working closely with us on a range of important and sensitive initiatives. Azerbaijan has also remained a steadfast supporter of Israel. Additionally, the United States and Azerbaijan have worked together against the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, thanks in large part to the Nunn-Lugar program. If confirmed, I will do everything possible to strengthen this vital initiative. No aspect of my diplomatic career has been more meaningful than working towards a peaceful settlement for Nagorno-Karabakh, a conflict that has no military solution. I'm proud of the vibrant partnership my Russian and French counterparts and I developed as co-chairs of the OSCE's Minsk group, as we helped bring Azerbaijan and Armenia closer to a negotiated settlement based on three key principles of the Helsinki Final Act: non-use of force or threat of force, territorial integrity, and equal rights and self-determination of peoples. If confirmed, I will support my successor as U.S. co-chair, Ambassador Robert Bradke, in pursuit of a peace agreement. On energy, Azerbaijan's hydrocarbons are helping to diversify global supplies of oil and gas and could eventually catalyze the economic growth and integration of the entire South Caucasus region. The Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline and the South Caucasus gas pipeline have laid the foundation for a new southern corridor to link gas reserves in Azerbaijan and perhaps Central Asia with markets in Europe. If confirmed, I will support these projects, including the Nabucco pipeline, referred to and crucially supported by Senator Lugar. Finally, Achieving the above goals requires a stable Azerbaijan. Stability will strengthen through invigorated reforms that expand political participation, strengthen economic liberty, combat corruption, ensure the rule of law, and protect human rights, including media freedom. During my 4 years as Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, I consistently pursued progress on these issues in Azerbaijan in a spirit of partnership. If confirmed, I will continue to do so. Ultimately, if Azerbaijan succeeds in blending democratization, prosperity, and elements of its own culture, and remains on the path of peace, Azerbaijan could become an example for transitional countries around the world. Madam Chair, thank you very much for considering my nomination. I look forward to answering your questions.
There have been several stories in recent days detailing concerns that have been raised by various constituencies about your service in the past, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to respond to some of the issues that have been raised. Critics in recent days have suggested that your past work, experiences, and relationships could negatively influence your views on U.S. interests in Azerbaijan and this important region. And allegations suggest that you are, quote, too close to major Azerbaijani politicians and that you're biased against Armenia, end quote. Can I ask you to respond to these accusations?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for a chance indeed to respond to these accusations. I welcome the opportunity to clarify some of these issues. On the question of bias, I have been serving for 22 years as a Foreign Service officer who's committed my entire career to representing the United States objectively, fairly, in pursuit of our national interests. I've worked hard to negotiate on peace agreements, and throughout this period I've realized that the only way to have any success in pursuing these interests is to remain objective and fair to all parties. I've been particularly active in negotiating some of these conflict solutions, especially with regard to Nagorno-Karabakh. And in those situations, one attracts a lot of attention, some of it positive, some of it negative. The criticism of efforts of the Minsk Group co-chairs has come from both sides, from both Azerbaijan and from Armenia, and that's a cost of doing diplomatic business, if you will. I can assert with full confidence I have maintained my objectivity, and I believe the parties to the conflict, in this case Nagorno-Karabakh, would agree. My working professional relationships with the leaders of both Armenia and Azerbaijan are strong, they are professional, they are effective, and again, the leadership of both Armenia and Azerbaijan, I think, have seen trust in me, and working together with the OSCE Minsk Group and my fellow co-chairs, we've been able to make progress toward a solution. With regard to some of the other more personal allegations, maybe I'll touch on the three main ones that appear in this Washington Times article yesterday. One is an allegation about potential conflicts of interest. As I said, I take my responsibilities as a public servant seriously. This is my life. Before being nominated to serve in this position, the administration undertook a thorough and comprehensive review of my candidacy. This included a complete and exhaustive examination of my family's finances. And as we know, this administration has held all of its ambassadorial nominees to the highest ethical standards. That extensive vetting process uncovered no conflicts of interest as relate to myself or my family. With regard to my wife, Zaino, she's an employee of the Hudson Institute, a think tank here in Washington, D.C., and I, of course, am fully supportive and proud of Zaino's professional endeavors and her accomplishments. It is, in fact, her sharp and brilliant mind, her commitment to the same sorts of international values that I'm committed to: peace, prosperity, democratization, compatibility of Islam and democracy, that brought us together in the first place. We have common ideas about the world, and perhaps that's how we fell in love originally. But we have also made a choice and made a decision 10 years ago, we've been together a while, to separate our professional and private lives. So while our thinking may sometimes coincide, and while Zaino's positions that she's advocated in the past do often reflect U.S. interests, that's a positive because that's her natural way of thinking. Again, that's one of the reasons why we came together. We see the world in a similar way.